everybody? This is Coach Phil, and welcome to another episode of Deep in the Game. And as you can see, we've got the mullet man, the man with the hammer, two-time CFL All-Star, and brand new addition, no Bobby Brown or Ricky, Bobby, and Mike, AJ Oullette. AJ, how you doing, brother?
I'm great. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm excited.
Good. I'm glad, man. So how you feeling, man? Everything good with you? You guys have gone through training camp. You're in the dorms, as you complained about a little bit. How you feeling, man?
Body's feeling good. Bless the coaching. They took care of me this camp. Kind of managed the workload. When I needed to get in there and get my cardio up, they let me get in there. And then when I needed a little bit of time off to keep the legs healthy, they let the younger backs get an opportunity to show what they had. And ready for week one now. Feeling healthy, feeling ready.
How's it feel to be finally being the feature back? Because you blessed enough to be able to play with Andrew Harris. Shout out to Andrew, had him on. How's it feel to be the feature back now? Just the number one guy.
I'm approaching it the same I did the last few years. I'm going into it whenever I'm on the field. I'm gonna give the best I can. Come to the sideline and try to figure out what the defense is showing us. It's going to be a little bit different this year without, the brainiac Andrew Harris on the sideline telling me everything. But I'm ready to take that step and kind of develop into that veteran role.
See, I learned about you, man. I've got my little notes here for you. And originally you played fullback. Now playing fullback kind of very similar here in the CFL. It's almost like a Nick Dempsey kind of role, but so you got a little bit of Brady to you as the leading halfback. Is there a different transition between playing fullback or playing halfback?
See, the offense that I played fullback in, it was pretty similar. Just not as many cuts, not many reads. Now playing running back, you actually get to read, and the holes can develop in multiple different places. Normally at fullback, it is just give you the hand, give you the ball, and if it's at A-gap's the only option.
Right.
So that's kind of how the running style developed. Was you get the hand off, the holes not there, you got to make it yourself. But running back, fullback, it's all the same once the ball is snapped. It's just who can be the best football player out there.
Right. I've always equated your running style to Marshawn Lynch. On a swivel, little hood mentality, even though you're from Ohio. Nothing really comes out of Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. But AJ Oullette has. Is there a certain type of running back that you looked at as, I like to take a little bit of his style or take a little bit of his style and then mold it into what I have as myself?
I mean, anyone that's called beast mode, that's kind of who you want to be. But I grew up a Niners fan, so Frank Gore is who I watched, and it was what I've learned through his is just consistency. And it was, I don't know how many years in a row he had 1,000-yard seasons, but he played well into his 30s and was dominating still. So just kind of watching how he played the game, nothing fancy, but just do your job and do it well. But also I'm going to backtrack on that Ohio comment. You know the quarterback's from Ohio here, right?
Yeah.
And now the running back's from Ohio, right? So we got some love.
It's still Ohio. Now, if you would have said Cleveland, all right.
I know.
But you were born July 20th, 1995 in Covington, Ohio. Where is Covington, Ohio? And talk to us about your upbringing.
Covington, Ohio. I just tell people we're about 25 minutes north of Dayton, an hour west of Columbus, pretty close to the Indiana border. Just past a bunch of cornfields and you'll find our town. My upbringing, the town is around 2,000 people, just above that probably. Small town community, and kind of the similar vibe that I get here is when it's game day, everything's shut down because everybody wants to go to the games, watch football. Football is life. When I was there, we had a great high school program, an amazing high school coach, and I couldn't have picked a better high school to go to during my high school time.
4 straight league championships, MVP of the Dayton area All-Star game. You rushed for over 2,535 yards, and you have the record for most yards in the game, 353 yards. Did you ever play any other position, or you feel like you were destined to play running back?
So being from a small town, you play both ways.
Yeah.
So I played majority running back and linebacker, or running back and safety corner, just depending on what year it was. My senior year, I was just running back, safety, pretty much it. I also kicked. Every once in a while, I went in there at quarterback or receiver whenever we needed me to play something different. But yeah, just those two. And the funny thing is, everyone thought I was a better DB in high school. So I went to NC State's camps as a corner. I went to Cincinnati as a corner, and I had an old-time media guy come up to me, and he said, "You need to switch to running back." He goes, "You got all the skills to play DB and all that, but I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have a better shot at running back." And I enjoyed running back more. I was just being told by everybody else to try the defensive side of the ball. So I'm glad I stuck to the running back, though.
We are thankful for that. We needed that. Now, when we talk about transition from high school to college, you had very little interest from D1 programs, which was very surprising to me. I would have thought at least Ohio State would at least given you a look. Being from Ohio, you got good numbers. Did they ever come knocking on your door at some point in time?
No, Ohio State did not, which I grew up a Buckeye fan, and now I don't even watch them when they're on the game on TV. So, yeah. In high school, I didn't have a single Division I offer. I had 2 Division II offers, Ashland University and Urbana, who's no longer a school, which took a visit to Ashland and loved it. I just needed to take a chance and jump into that Division I role. And lucky enough, I had 3 preferred walk-on spots at Eastern Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio University. I had a visit to Akron. I showed up and the coaches were there, so I knew that was not the school for me. Luckily, I went to Ohio University, met all the coaches, explored the whole campus. Basically, it's all just in one little area, and that's all that city is basically a campus. Fell in love with it, fell in love with Coach Solich, Coach Albin, and knew that's where I needed to play.
What was it like for you coming into the program as a walk-on?
Yeah, as a walk-on, the cool part was, not too many people look into that. When it comes to player-wise, it's just whoever shows up on campus as a freshman on orientation day is who your class is going to be. It wasn't until a couple weeks into summer training where, people start talking about, oh, he's a walk-on, and it's like, what? But yeah, I just kind of showed up with the confidence that I belonged. Did anything the coaches asked me to do, special teams, whatever it was going to be. I was a wedge on kickoff return. So whatever they needed me to do, I was willing to do. And luckily, they saw that. They saw the effort I put into it. And right after training camp, right before that first week game, they offered me a scholarship, me and a couple other walk-ons, and I was blessed enough to have that walk-on from my freshman year on. Tell
me a little bit about Coach Solich. What was your relationship like with him, and what type of coach was he for you in your maturation process?
Yeah, Coach Solich, as soon as I got on campus and I watched the first practice on my official visit, I knew he was a strong, high vibrant coach. Whenever he walks in the door, everybody shuts up. Like, he has the respect from everyone, and he doesn't talk a lot, but when he does it, it's an impact. So people listen. And him being an amazing fullback, running back, that's the type of guy I wanted leading the team I was on. So just kind of picking his brain on how the game has changed from when he played to when he first started coaching to now when he was coaching, and still changing. That was fun to see. And of course, being 45, and then when he was playing in Nebraska, he was number 45, so we got to bond on that a little bit. Still need to reach out to him a little bit more than I do, but football season's crazy, busy, and he's now in Idaho with his family, so he's living that retired life.
Hey, that's all we want to get to at some point in time. And maybe not Idaho, but it's a little too far for me. But I will say this though, man. You have back-to-back seasons with over 1K rushing yards. When did it all come together for you as a back, and you said, I can ball with some of the best in the NCAA?
The real click for me was that first college game I ever played in. I was, like I said, I was the wedge, but the way the kickoff went, I turned in from the wedge to a single blocker, and I had a decleater. First college play was the dude, I think first thing that hit the ground was his head. And that's when it clicked to me that, yeah, I can play this game and I can play it at a high level. And then I got in there at running back that first game. We were down by, or it was a tied game in the fourth quarter. We had a bunch of fumbles. One of the running backs tore his MCL, so we were down to the fifth string running back, which was me. and there was a minute, maybe just over a minute left in the fourth quarter, and a couple handoffs, and I broke free. A couple quick passes, a couple more handoffs, drove the length of the field, and we had a game-winning field goal. And that's when the confidence started building. And then the following year, when I kind of took over as the lead back, confidence started building. And then the last 2 years, tribute to an amazing offensive line that I had, we went into every game thinking we could just bully people.
Mm-hmm. Damn, that says a whole lot about you, man, that you're willing to do the dirty work to get in. And I've noticed this about a lot of guys I've had conversations with here on Deep in the Game. They're not afraid to do the dirty work. I respect the hell out of you guys for when you get to college or even get to the CFL, you want to do little things. Hell, even Cody Fajardo played on a little kickoff, a little punt, man. So to see that and hear that from you, you're a football player. I respect the hell out of that. Now, we talk about your pro career. Briefly speak on your stints in the NFL, because you were in some pretty interesting spots here with the Saints, the Browns, the Packers, and the Chiefs.
Yeah, so during the draft process, you're talking to, I think I talked to like 28 total teams in the NFL. So you're thinking you're going to get a shot at getting drafted. Draft day comes, no phone call, anything. And then the agent says, I'll give it 2 hours after the draft, you'll get a call. Mm-hmm. Next day comes and I still don't have a call. Luckily, one of the pro scouts with the Saints was from Ohio University. So he calls me up and goes, man, I was a big fan of what you did at Ohio. I just want to know where you signed to. And I'm like, I haven't signed anywhere. Mm. So he goes, give me 5 minutes. In 5 minutes he calls back. He goes, we got you a mini camp offer. So I accept that. I go down to New Orleans, start rookie mini camp. 3 days, I think is what it is. And luckily the free agent signing that they brought in couldn't learn the playbook fast enough in those 3 days, so they cut him, signed me, and that's kind of how my professional career started. So I got to learn from a fullback, Michael Burton. That's who I followed around for my month and a half time there during OTAs. Ended up kind of getting hurt, had some back issues that I hid from the training staff, so to try to keep me from getting cut. They looked right through it and ended up getting cut. Went to the Chiefs for veteran OTAs. 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks, they decided to, they can keep you or cut you. I didn't make it. I knew I wasn't really going to make it because I was playing a little bit of receiver for them. Go to Green Bay. They bring in 6 running backs. We do a workout. They send the other 5 home. They keep me. I stay one night. I come in next day and do a medical, like blood, EKGs, how they pull the joints, have all that fun with us. And I stay again, and I get picked up the next day to go into the stadium to sign a contract. And on my way in, the guy driving me in gets a call, and they changed their mind. So he turns around and goes to the airport. So that's how quick that turnaround can go in the NFL. Maybe 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, get a call from Cleveland during training camp. That was a fun experience. I got to be in a very talented room with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Duke Johnson, Dearness Johnson. Like, that was a talented room, and it was good to see the different types of characters that play in the game.
Do you wish that you kind of had another chance to go down there and show what you can still do, or are you content with, hey, I had my chance, I'm going to make this CFL thing work?
Everyone had the dream to go play in the NFL and all that, but the way the CFL has treated me, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and play 5 years in the NFL. The friends that I've made, lifelong teammates that I have now, like they're going to be friends for life. And the way the CFL game is, the way it maneuvered my life, like Trevor Harris is from Ohio. And I finally get a chance to play with him, and we get a 23-hour drive together to kind of bond. I don't think I would have got that in the NFL. So I wouldn't change it. I'm loving the CFL game, and hoping I get to play up here for a long time.
We hope so too. Now, how'd you end up in Toronto?
Yeah, I got cut from Cleveland on final cut day, and you're kind of hoping you get a call, but at the same time, you're like, football might be done. So you're trying to kind of figure out your life. I think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks later. I get a call from a Toronto number. I don't have an answer it. And they're like, do you still want to play football? I'm like, yes. And so they're like, do you want to play in the CFL? I'm like, yeah, football's football. Like, I just want to play football. They're like, can you be here tomorrow? And I'm like, yes, I can. They're like, you got a passport, correct? Yeah. So we get in the car and we drive up to Brighton early that next day to get there for meetings and sign a contract that day. And that was back in 2019. So I played with them I was practice squad 3 games, played the last 2 games of the regular season, which they didn't make the playoffs that year. I think they won maybe 2 games total. So, yeah. And then the next year was the COVID year. So it's been a little crazy time first entering the league.
Right. I mean, first of all, that's 2 wins. I'd be more mad about that than COVID, number 1. And number 2, I'd say for you, what was that experience, though, a couple years later, you get to a Grey Cup?
Yeah, I mean, just seeing how the team was when I first got there and some of the arguments and stuff that I saw from a locker room side and a coaching side that didn't add up to good football.
Right.
And then I got to see the change in coaching, change in leadership roles, and getting rid of some of the weeds and bringing in more just true pros, and watching the team develop and the culture and everybody bond together. And that's kind of how we got to that Grey Cup. We didn't start that season off great, like guns a-blazing. We kind of had to develop into the team that we wanted to be. And luckily enough, we were hitting our strides at the right time.
Now, after winning that Grey Cup this past season, you guys went on a phenomenal run. But I've had my own opinion, actually. I'm just going to sit up and straight up tell you the truth. Because I can't bullshit you sitting here. In the East Final, on that first drive, because I've said it before and I'll say it again, I was in Winnipeg watching this. You was on a roll that first drive, and it was given to you. It was given to that defense. But then something happened where they just got away they got away from the run. Now, I talked to VA. The same thing happened with them in the West Final against Winnipeg. Y'all playing Montreal, a team that was super duper hot at that time. What happened, and do you feel like they just forgot about you?
Yeah, we came in with the game plan of establishing the run, and that's what we did for that opening drive. Marched all the way down to up to 5. I don't know where we were. We had a little bit of a misread. I think we score. I mean, I have to make the safety miss in the hole, but we kind of have a little bit of a misread and don't see the safety tracking, and we're down 7-0. And I don't want to say we panicked, but I felt like we didn't try to go back out and establish the run game like we did. We tried to get that 7 back real quick, and just kind of got out of hand real quick. And yeah, I can't say too much on it, but I wish I played a bigger role into that game. Felt like it was out of my reach and not too much I could do.
From a running back perspective, does that mess with your confidence a little bit, or do you question, like, are they trying to make somebody else look better at my expense? Because there was a lot of BS being said about, oh, they wanted he who shall not be named to be the star of that game. When in reality, that was your game. It was in your favor. From my perspective, it was a better game for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't ever look at it in that terms. We all get paid to win. We don't get paid to play the game. We don't get paid to coach the game. We get paid to win.
That's right.
And so I have the mindset going into it that everybody on the team, everybody in the coaching staff, the only goal that they want is to win. And for me, that's why it sucked, because halfway through that game, I'm out there and I'm seeing some stuff, and I just felt like I had no control over the game. Like, they weren't even blitzing, so I didn't have anybody to block, and I'm trying to run these routes, and it was just...
But did you feel like they were trying to make you do things that were outside the norm for you? Because I don't really see you get that many touches as far as in the pass game. You're grit and grind, run the ball, I'm gonna take it down, I'm gonna hit you in the throat. But for them to throw you the ball, that was very surprising in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, I pride myself in the run game, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
First, my pass blocking ability, and then the run game, and then my receiving abilities. We didn't get to use it a whole lot in the past 2 years. My quarterback, I mean, Chad has an amazing arm, and the receivers were crazy there. So
Out of this world.
So they didn't have to check the ball down.
Right.
But I do say I mean, my routes aren't the best, or I'd be playing receiver. But
you ain't Wes Welker, nothing like that.
Yeah. But I do think I can contribute into the pass game a little bit more than what I did.
Understandable. So, moving forward, what led you to sign with the Riders, and what made you not want to go back to Toronto?
Yeah, I mean, I spent some good times in Toronto, but eventually you get tired of that traffic. But that wasn't the reason. Coach Mace took the head coaching job here, and he was an amazing DC in the years in Toronto, and just loved who he was, how he treated his family, and how he treated everybody on the team. Obviously, he's going to favor the defensive guys, but he also showed the love to us offensive guys. And the fact that he brought in some of the other coaches on the staff with Bell and my running back coach, Coach Harrison. As soon as I knew Coach Ed was getting the job, I called him up. You know, he's all pumped because his main goal was to have his own offensive line, and now he gets to be the offensive line coach. And just seeing the energy he had and the work ethic he had for the running backs, I knew he was going to bring to the O-line. So that was an offense I wanted to be a part of. And they were bringing in Coach Mueller, which is the exact same system I just came from. So it was going to be easy for me to transition into that. And in Toronto, you know, I tried to give them everything I had. But during that whole process, you know, you're put on PR, you're cut, and then you're brought back, and you know, there's just some emotional things that go into it that you got to kind of leave out and try to be a pro and just do your job. But at the end of the day, I just thought that Saskatchewan and the coaching staff here and the players is just who I wanted to be with. When they were trying to talk to me into in that free agent that week window, Trevor Harris calls me, and like first time we talked, we spent like 3 hours on the phone just talking about life, and that was one of the big reasons I signed here, just because I knew that was going to be the starting quarterback. I knew that was going to be the leader of the team, and that's who I wanted to be teammates with.
Well, Trevor called you when the quarterback calls you to come to Regina. Man, that's a hell of a thing right there. Both of you Ohio boys talking for 3 hours on the phone. It's those little things, man. Yeah. That's that little thing. That would have made me come here, especially with Corey being here. You got your running back coach. You know, even though Corey's a defensive guy, you're going to get your touches and you're going to get what you need. Now, I had the Herdman Reed twins on, and they told me that the expectation this season obviously is Grey Cup, but you guys are about building. Building. What does that mean to you?
We just got to build it from the ground up, no matter what aspect it is of the team. When it comes down to the X's and O's, you got to build it from the ground up. When it comes to the community, we got to rebuild that, because I feel like the team hasn't been as involved in the community as they should be. With this amazing support, we need to be out there more. And if we get more fans into the games, it's going to be easier to win those whole games, because it's a tough place to play when you're on the road.
That's right.
We just got to go day by day and build brick by brick the team that we want, and the individuals that we want, which is another reason I came for Coach Mace. Who he was as a football player, who he was as a man, who he was as a father, husband, all that. That is how you build it. Yes. And that's what I see in this locker room that we have now too.
Well, you know I want the best for y'all. I expect nothing but a Grey Cup from your time here and everybody else. And in Mace we trust. That's the hashtag I'm running with this year. That's a good man. Shout out to Coach Mace. So we're gonna end this one right here, man, with 5 rapid fire questions. But since we are both wrestling fans, we're gonna do a wrestling edition. How's that sound for you?
All right.
First question: did Brett screw Brett, or did Vince McMahon screw Brett?
That's Vince, 100%.
Perfect. You don't blame Sean or nothing like that?
Nope.
Just Vince?
No. I mean, I kind of forgot about all that stuff. So, yeah. No.
Well, I could make it more. What era do you remember the most?
I grew up a Stone Cold fan for sure. So that's the era that I had with The Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Kane.
Yeah.
Those were all my guys.
What is your favorite Stone Cold moment? Because I'm a Stone Cold guy, my doggone self.
I mean, it's just the celebration. The 2 beers after it wins, the smash.
Yeah.
I love seeing the reenactments with the kids, and they got like the cartons of milk and
Yeah.
they're just smashing. So
I love it, man. My personal favorite one is, people forget this one early in his run as Stone Cold. He was on a run where he was stunning everybody, Jeff Jarrett, random people, but he would point, and then he would walk backwards, roll out backwards out the ring. I'm like, this man's the greatest wrestler of all time. Didn't even have to throw the middle finger at you this time. For you, what is your favorite finishing move to see outside the stunner?
Outside the stunner. So anytime that I'm in the backyard, it's the people's elbow that
Yeah.
because you get to just kind of, shimmy and shake over
Yeah.
top of them,
Yeah.
jump over, rope, and then just finish.
Oh.
So it's anytime you get to kind of brag while they're still down before you hit your finisher, that's the one.
It's the elbow. It's taking the elbow pad and just throwing it.
And me not being, athletic, but not the most athletic guy, I'm not going to do the ones that are flipping and all that stuff. So keep it simple, keep my feet on the ground.
How do you feel about Roman Reigns and the bloodline?
Roman Reigns. See, I don't know too much about that one.
You don't know too much about that one?
Mm-hmm.
Got to catch up, man.
Yeah, I know.
You missing it. You missed a great WrestleMania this year. Cody Rhodes finally finished. Well, I shouldn't tell you, but you'll see. I guess I'll keep it Attitude Era for you. Are you more Attitude Era or in Ruthless Aggression Era, that like John Cena in them?
Yeah, I know a little bit of that era, but I
Attitude Era.
kind of got away from it. Yeah.
Okay, then
Football took over my life.
Then I'll keep the last 2 Attitude Era for you. Who's more scarier, Undertaker or Kane?
Undertaker for sure. Like the eye roll when just you're in a coffin. First off, that creeps me out. Just thinking about laying in a coffin while I'm not dead.
That way.
And he's just coming out in a coffin all the time.
Yeah, I grew up, when I was growing up, it was Kane. I used to always think that's the most scariest looking human being, because he would walk out, he'd start a fire, he threw a fireball at people, and he didn't talk. And we were so naive. We thought they were brothers. He burned his brother. I really believe that. Even at 30 years old, I still believe he did that shit.
Yeah. So like storyline, he's the scariest one. Just because you never got to see the face, you never got to see the burns, you never got to see. So your just imagination went crazy.
Right.
So he was scary, but just the Undertaker and the all black, the hair, just I guess fits me a little bit better.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll make the last question. Where the hell did the mullet come from?
In high school, we weren't allowed to have our hair stick out of our helmet. The high school coach was going to cut it off. So, I always had a buzz cut.
Mm-hmm.
I got to college, and I'm like, I need to try this out. And found some pictures of me when I was like 2 with a mullet, blonde. So I'm like, maybe I'll bring back this mullet. And then I started looking into it a little bit more, and I saw Brian Bosworth. And I'm like, yep, that's what we're gonna go for right here. And grew out the mullet for a good year. It wasn't as long as it was now, or is now, but ended up tearing 3 ligaments in my foot. Blamed it on my hair, so I cut it off. And then went with the short hair for a few years. COVID year happened, and I'm like, I'm gonna grow the hair back out. And I had some great seasons after that, so I knew it wasn't the hair's fault, so we're keeping it.
The business in the front, party in the back. I ain't mad at you, brother. Hey, this has been amazing, AJ. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man, everything you're doing. And best luck this season. And we're going to get in the ring at some point.
Yes, yeah, no doubt about it.
Now, like I told you before we start recording, you put me in the sharpshooter or you put me in any type of submission, I promise you, I'm going to catch you slipping. So try to tell him, man, Sweet Chin music is coming. He ain't ready for it.
Yeah, I would try to keep the cheap shots and the ankle locks and all that out of there.
That's gonna be another episode of Deep in the Game. We might be deep in this game, but you got the rules missing. There's been some furniture moving up in here, y'all. Y'all take care. Bye. Thank you, brother.
I'ma tell you the truth.
The man's in the house.
So crazy,
The man's in the house.
I'ma tell you the truth.
The man's in the house.
so crazy.
The man's in the house.